happened?
Someone hurt my mommy.
Who?
Me.
2026 has been one of the best years for horror in a long time. We got Obsession, a nasty, twisty little monkey's paw story that turned into one of the biggest sleeper hits of the year. We got Backrooms, a liminal space nightmare that somehow made more than 300 times its budget back. We even got Send Help, Sam Raimi's return to the genre, stranding two strangers on an island and squeezing every ounce of tension out of it. This year set the bar high. And then there's Ice Cream Man. Eli Roth's new slasher had one of the most promising premises of the year on paper. What we got instead might be the most disappointing horror release of 2026. Let's get into why. Here's the setup. Ice Cream Man takes place in Bayleen Bay, one of those postcard-perfect sun-drenched summer towns where nothing bad is supposed to happen. Kids ride bikes, families barbecue, the whole nostalgic Americana package. Into that town rolls a mysterious ice cream truck, driven by a vendor nobody seems to know anything about. At first, it plays like a heightened, almost fairy tale version of small town summer, kids flocking to the truck, parents not thinking twice. But the treats this ice cream man is serving aren't just sugar and cream. Something in them starts rewiring the kids who eat it, and one by one, ordinary children start turning into something else entirely, violent, unpredictable, and increasingly hard to recognize as themselves. As more kids fall under whatever this stuff is doing to them, the town itself starts to unravel. Parents turn on each other, trying to figure out what's happening. Authority figures, including a priest who gets pulled into the chaos, try and fail to contain it. And looming over all of it is the ice cream man himself. Never fully explained, never fully understood, just present, watching the town he's poisoning fall apart from the inside. It's a premise that's basically begging to be either really fun or really disturbing, a killer-Willy-Wonka slasher with genuine social horror potential underneath it. If the film wanted to dig into ideas about what we feed our kids, or how quickly a perfect community turns on itself under pressure. Eli Roth wrote, directed, and produced this one himself, under his brand new label, The Horror Section, and it was shot in Hamilton, Ontario, standing in for small town America. On paper, this should have worked. It doesn't. The first problem is tone. The movie can't decide if it wants to be a gnarly, campy slasher or a grim, disturbing horror film, and instead of picking a lane, it swerves between the two constantly. One scene plays for laughs, the next wants you genuinely unsettled, and neither register gets the room it needs to actually land. Compare that to Obsession earlier this year, a film that was also darkly comedic, but knew exactly when to be funny and exactly when to twist the knife. Ice Cream Man never finds that same control, it just swings and hopes something sticks. Then there's the effects work, which is genuinely surprising given Roth's track record. His earlier films built a reputation on gnarly, tactile, practical gore, the kind that makes you wince because it looks real. Here, a lot of that grit is gone. Multiple viewers have pointed out that some of the props and makeup look cheap rather than horrifying, and there are moments where the film leans on visibly AI-assisted elements that stick out in exactly the wrong way. In a year where Backrooms proved you can make something genuinely unsettling on a shoestring budget with real craft, Ice Cream Man makes AI shortcuts feel like exactly that, shortcuts. The performances don't do it many favors either. Outside of the lead, the supporting cast, especially the kids who are supposed to be the film's central horror, comes across as inconsistent. When the whole premise hinges on watching innocent children turn into something terrifying, you need those performances to sell the transformation. Here, it mostly doesn't land, and that undercuts the entire back half of the film. And then there's the ending, which might be the single biggest issue. Reports and reactions across the board describe it as abrupt and unresolved, like the film simply ran out of time or ideas before it could actually pay off everything it set up. Send Help earlier this year proved that horror in 2026 can absolutely stick the landing, delivering a tight, satisfying survival thriller start to finish. Ice Cream Man doesn't even seem to try. put it all together, the tonal whiplash, the AI-assisted shortcuts, the inconsistent performances, the rushed ending, and you get a film that had one of the year's most promising horror concepts and somehow turned it into one of 2026's most forgettable disappointments. To be fair, it's not a total wash. The Ice Cream Man himself, the character, the design, the general menace Ari Millen brings to the role, is genuinely the one piece of this movie that works. There's something to the way he's shot, lingering at the edges of the town, that hints at the more effective, unsettling film this could have been. And if you're specifically here for over-the-top, splatter-heavy kills, there's enough gore volume to keep gorehounds mildly entertained even if the craft behind it isn't Roth's best work. But the villain is cool, and there's a lot of blood, isn't much to build a recommendation on. 2026 has genuinely been a great year for horror. Obsession delivered one of the best horror performances in years. Backrooms turned a liminal space internet legend into a legitimate box office phenomenon. Send Help showed that a tight, well-executed survival horror film can still hit hard. Against that backdrop, Ice Cream Man doesn't just underperform, it stands out as one of the year's biggest letdowns. If you're a diehard Eli Roth completionist, or you just want mindless gore playing in the background, there might be enough here to get you through it once, but if you're looking for anything close to what the rest of 2026 horror has delivered, this one's an easy skip. I would rate this a 4 out of 10. That's my take on Ice Cream Man. Easily one of the more disappointing horror releases in a year that's otherwise been stacked. Did you see it? Am I being too harsh, or does this track with what you experienced? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more horror reviews, and I'll see you in the next one.